Your soulmate saying, I have something important to tell you. Something important happened today. Open this right now. My beloved child, wait, something unusual has shifted, and the message you are about to hear may reveal why this moment feels different from all the others before it. There are moments in life when everything appears normal on the outside, yet something powerful is quietly unfolding behind the scenes. A thought appears suddenly. A memory returns without warning. A feeling rises that you cannot fully explain. And sometimes, those small moments are the beginning of a much bigger realization. Today, there is something your soulmate wants you to understand. Not just a simple message. Not just ordinary words. But something that has been building inside their heart and mind for a long time. What if the thing you have been waiting to understand is finally becoming clear? Stay with me, because the meaning behind this message is deeper than it first appears. Your soulmate saying, I have something important to tell you, carries a different energy. It suggests that something changed. Something happened today that made them look at things differently. A conversation, a realization, a moment of reflection, something opened a door they could no longer ignore. Sometimes people spend a long time searching for the right moment to express what they truly feel. They think about what to say. They replay memories. They wonder how their words will be received. But then a certain moment arrives. A moment when silence no longer feels comfortable. A moment when the truth inside becomes stronger than the fear of expressing it. And that moment may be closer than you think. Imagine someone carrying an important thought all day. They continue with their routine, they smile, they talk to others, they handle their responsibilities. But somewhere inside, there is one message they keep returning to. A message connected to you. A message they feel needs to be shared. But here is where things become interesting. The most important part may not be the words they want to say. The most important part may be what caused them to finally feel ready to say it. Because every meaningful message has a story behind it. Every change begins with a moment of awareness. Maybe today brought them a new perspective. Maybe they saw something from a different angle. Maybe they realized the value of a connection they once took for granted. Maybe they discovered that some bonds are not measured by time or distance, but by the impact they leave on the heart. And before you move forward, remember this. Not every important moment arrives with a loud announcement. Some of the biggest changes begin quietly. A single thought. A single decision. A single realization that transforms the way someone sees everything. You might miss the turning point if you look only for something dramatic. Sometimes the universe of possibilities changes through one simple message. I have something important to tell you. Think about those words for a moment. Why those words? Why now? Why today? There is a reason this message feels different. There is a reason your attention was drawn here. Perhaps this is not just about hearing what someone wants to say. Perhaps this is about understanding what happens when two paths begin moving toward a new chapter. Because sometimes the most unexpected moments become the ones we remember forever. And the next part of this story reveals what may have happened today that created this powerful shift, the hidden reason behind the message that your soulmate wants you to hear. Stay a little longer, because the answer may be closer than you imagine. A quiet moment can sometimes carry the loudest message, and what happened today may have created a feeling that could not be ignored. There are times when a person suddenly sees something with new clarity. Something that was always there becomes impossible to overlook. A memory becomes more meaningful. A connection becomes more valuable. A simple thought becomes a powerful realization. And this may be exactly the kind of moment that changed the way your soulmate sees things. Stay with me, because the next piece of this story is not about guessing the future, it is about understanding the emotions, choices, and moments that can transform a person from within. Today may have brought a surprising reflection. Maybe they remembered a conversation that stayed in their mind longer than expected. Maybe they thought about the way you made them feel during a certain moment. Maybe something reminded them that some connections are rare, and not every person who enters our lives leaves the same impact. Have you ever wondered why certain people remain in our thoughts even when life becomes busy? Why does one person's words sometimes stay with us longer than hundreds of other conversations? Because true emotional connections are often built through small moments. A kind word. A shared memory. A feeling of being understood. These moments create invisible bridges between people. And today, something may have reminded your soulmate about that bridge. But here is the part you should pay attention to. The important message they want to share may not only be about what happened today. It may also be about what they finally understood. Sometimes people need time before they can recognize the importance of something in their life. Growth changes perspectives. Experience changes priorities. Time reveals what truly matters. And when someone reaches that point of awareness, their words become different. They are no longer speaking from confusion. They are speaking from a place of understanding. So when you hear, "I have something important to tell you," think beyond the sentence itself. Ask yourself, what journey brought them to this moment? What thoughts led them here? What realization made them feel that now is the right time? Because every important message has a hidden chapter before it is spoken. And that hidden chapter may contain the biggest clue. Something today may have reminded them of a truth they already knew deep inside. A truth about connection. A truth about appreciation. A truth about the people who bring meaning into our lives. Before you go any further, remember this line. Sometimes the universe does not send answers through noise. Sometimes answers arrive through moments that make us stop, reflect, and look deeper. If this message connects with your heart, feel free to share your thoughts and experiences with others who may need a moment of reflection too. Your words might become the encouragement someone else was looking for. Now, prepare yourself for what comes next. Because the next revelation is not about the message alone. It is about the reason behind it. The moment that pushed your soulmate to finally say, "I need to tell you something important." And that reason may reveal a side of this connection that you never expected to see. A single realization can change the direction of an entire story, and sometimes, the most meaningful messages arrive after a person finally understands what truly matters. There is something fascinating about human emotions. People can spend days, weeks, or even months carrying thoughts they never express. They may continue living their normal life, appearing calm and confident, while inside they are processing memories, feelings, and questions that only they know. And then suddenly, a moment arrives. A moment that creates clarity. A moment that makes them think, I cannot keep this inside anymore. This could be the reason behind the words your soulmate is saying, I have something important to tell you. But what exactly creates that kind of moment? Sometimes it is not one huge event. Sometimes it is a collection of small signs that slowly become impossible to ignore. A familiar memory appearing at the perfect time. A conversation that changes their perspective. A realization that someone's presence had a deeper meaning than they understood before. Think about this. Have you ever looked back at a chapter of your life and suddenly understood something you could not see before? Maybe a situation that once felt confusing now makes sense. Maybe a delay that once felt frustrating actually gave you time to grow. Maybe a connection that seemed ordinary at first revealed a much deeper purpose. Life often works this way. Understanding comes when we are ready to receive it. And perhaps today was a day of understanding for your soulmate. Maybe they discovered something important about their own feelings. Maybe they recognized the value of honesty, communication, and emotional connection. Maybe they realized that some conversations should not be postponed forever. Because there comes a point when the heart asks for honesty. Not dramatic words. Not perfect sentences. Just something real. Something meaningful. Something that explains what has been happening inside. Stay with this thought for a moment. What if the message they want to share is connected to a transformation happening within them? What if today was not just another ordinary day? What if today became the day they looked at everything from a completely different perspective? The most powerful changes often begin internally before they become visible externally. A person changes their thoughts first. Then their actions begin to follow. And eventually, their words reveal what has already changed inside them. This is why the message matters. Because behind every, I have something important to tell you, is a story that led someone to that exact moment. A story of reflection. A story of growth. A story of realizing what deserves attention. And perhaps the biggest surprise is this. The message may not be about what was lost. It may be about what was learned. It may be about a new understanding of what truly brings meaning, peace, and happiness into life. Before you move forward, remember this. Some chapters do not begin with a grand announcement. They begin with a simple sentence that carries a powerful intention. I need to tell you something. Those words can open the door to a conversation that changes how two people see their journey. And the next part will uncover the deeper meaning behind this message, the hidden emotion that may be connected to why this moment became so important today. Stay until the end, because the most meaningful realization is still waiting to be revealed. A hidden feeling can remain unnoticed for a long time, until one unforgettable moment brings it into the light. There are certain moments in life when a person suddenly stops running from their own thoughts. They slow down. They reflect. They begin to understand the value of what has always been meaningful. And perhaps that is what makes today different. The message, I have something important to tell you, is not just about speaking words. It is about the courage to open a door that has remained closed for too long. Because sometimes the hardest conversations are not difficult because we do not know what to say. They are difficult because we know those words carry meaning. Think about that for a moment. When someone truly wants to share something important, they do not just think about the message. They think about the person receiving it. They wonder how it will be understood. They imagine the moment when everything finally comes out. And that preparation reveals something powerful. It shows that the connection matters. Maybe today brought your soulmate a moment of realization. A moment where they looked back at certain memories and saw them differently. Moments they once overlooked suddenly became valuable reminders of what they truly appreciate. Sometimes a person does not understand the importance of a chapter while they are living it. They understand it when they pause and reflect. They understand it when they recognize the impact someone had on their journey. They understand it when they realize that some connections cannot simply be replaced. But here is the deeper question. What if the important thing they want to share is not only about the past? What if it is also about a new direction? A new perspective? A new understanding of what they want moving forward? Because growth changes people. The person who looked at a situation yesterday may not see it the same way today. A single experience can create a completely different vision for tomorrow. And that is why this moment feels significant. It represents movement. It represents a shift from silence into expression. From uncertainty into understanding. From thoughts kept inside into words finally ready to be shared. Stay with this message, because the next part is where the meaning becomes even clearer. There is a reason certain conversations happen at certain moments. There is a reason some messages arrive after a long period of waiting. Sometimes timing is not about being late or early. Sometimes timing is about reaching a moment when both people are ready to understand what is being revealed. And maybe today created exactly that kind of moment. A moment where your soulmate felt that something needed to be expressed. A moment where holding back no longer felt right. A moment where one simple sentence could begin an entirely new chapter. I have something important to tell you. 4 simple words. Yet behind them could be countless thoughts, emotions, memories, and realizations. Before you move ahead, remember this. The most meaningful messages are not always the loudest ones. Sometimes they arrive softly, carrying a deeper purpose that only becomes clear with time. And the next part will explore the final layer of this message. The hidden truth behind why this conversation became important today, and what this moment could teach you about patience, growth, and the power of meaningful connections. A new chapter often begins quietly, before anyone else can see the change taking place. There are moments when life places a person in a position where they can no longer ignore what they truly feel. Not because they are forced. Not because they are pressured. But because something inside them becomes clear. And this may be the deeper meaning behind the words. I have something important to tell you. Those words carry curiosity, but they also carry intention. Because when someone decides to share something meaningful, it usually comes after a journey of thoughts, reflections, and personal discoveries. Maybe today was the day your soulmate connected certain pieces together. Maybe they realized that some memories still hold importance. Maybe they understood that some people leave an impact that time cannot easily erase. And perhaps the most surprising part is this. The message they want to share may reveal something they have learned about themselves. Because every meaningful connection teaches us something. It teaches us patience. It teaches us understanding. It teaches us how valuable honest communication can be. Sometimes, we search for answers outside ourselves, waiting for a sign or a perfect moment. But often, the greatest changes begin when someone finally becomes honest with their own heart. That honesty creates movement. It creates new possibilities. It creates a different way of seeing the journey ahead. So imagine this moment. Someone sitting quietly, thinking about what they want to say. They may be remembering certain conversations. They may be replaying certain moments. They may be wondering how one message could express everything they have been carrying inside. And then they realize something important. The perfect words may never exist. But sincerity matters more than perfection. A genuine message does not need to be complicated. Sometimes the simplest words carry the deepest meaning. I need to tell you something. I want you to understand. There is something important you should know. These sentences may seem small, but they can represent a major shift in someone's mindset. Stay with this thought. What if the real transformation is not only happening in the conversation between two people? What if the transformation is happening within the hearts and perspectives of both individuals? Because sometimes a message arrives not just to give information, but to create awareness. It reminds us to value the connections that bring growth into our lives. It reminds us that every person we meet can leave a lesson behind. It reminds us that life is constantly moving, constantly teaching, constantly revealing new possibilities. And maybe that is why this moment feels different. Because something important happened today. Something created a reason for this message to appear. Something encouraged a conversation that may bring more understanding, more clarity, and a deeper appreciation of the journey. If this message brought a thought or feeling to your mind, you are welcome to share what you believe this moment represents. Sometimes sharing our reflections helps others discover their own perspective too. Now, the final piece of this story is waiting. Because the most powerful part of any message is not only what is said. It is the meaning behind it. And understanding that meaning may reveal why this moment was never as ordinary as it seemed. A powerful message is not measured only by the words spoken, it is measured by the change those words create inside the heart. And now, we reach the deeper layer of this moment. Because the sentence, "I have something important to tell you," is not only an invitation to listen. It is an invitation to understand. Sometimes people wait for a perfect opportunity to express what they have discovered. They wait until their thoughts become clearer. They wait until they feel ready. They wait until they know their words will carry the meaning they truly intend. But there comes a point when a realization becomes stronger than hesitation. A point when someone says, "This needs to be shared." And perhaps that is what makes today so meaningful. Something shifted. Something became clearer. Something encouraged a new perspective. Think about how often life gives us moments that seem ordinary at first, but later we realize they were turning points. A simple conversation. A forgotten memory returning. A quiet moment of reflection. A feeling that suddenly makes sense. These moments have a way of guiding us toward a deeper understanding of ourselves and the people around us. And maybe this message is a reminder of something important. Every connection has a story. Every person carries experiences we may never fully see. Every heart has thoughts that are waiting for the right moment to be expressed. Your soulmate's message may represent a moment of honesty. A moment where they choose to bring something into the open instead of leaving it unspoken. But here is something even more interesting. The value of the message is not only in hearing what someone has to say. The value is also in how we receive it. Because true understanding requires patience. It requires an open mind. It requires the ability to listen beyond the surface. Sometimes the most important part of a conversation is not the first sentence. It is the meaning hidden between the words. It is the emotion behind the voice. It is the intention behind the message. So as this story unfolds, remember this. Do not only search for the answer. Pay attention to the lesson. Because every important moment carries something that can help us grow. Maybe today is teaching the importance of appreciation. Maybe it is showing the power of communication. Maybe it is reminding you that meaningful connections deserve attention and care. And perhaps the biggest realization